Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be if she cheats on him, she'll cheat on you. Well, karma is a bitch. And this poor guy, he made the mistake of, looks like he ripped off another dude's girlfriend. And because he says when they met, she was with somebody else. And then, so he doesn't go into detail, but it looks like he stole her away from some other guy. He was with this girl for about 2 years. He says the relationship was always good communication, or so he thought. And he claims she was really in love with him, that to the point where she'd get upset if he didn't have the time to see her. So they ended up moving in together last September, almost a year ago. Bought all kinds of furniture and stuff, moved in. Of course, he paid for all of it and financed it. And he's like, hey, I'm going to work a little bit more so I can earn enough money to pay all this stuff off. And for his troubles, she monkey branched to a male coworker. And on top of that, got knocked up shortly thereafter. So this is, he realizes now the error of his ways. And I mean, it's a good email because I talk about this a lot. Character's destiny, man. If she cheats on him, she's gonna cheat on you, and she's bored, or just this woman didn't value loyalty, monogamy, exclusivity, and then you go and you get into a relationship with her after ripping her off for somebody else, and then she does the same thing to you. It's like, this is as predictable as the sun coming up in the east and setting in the west. So he says, hello, Coach. First things first, I'm a big fan of your work, and I've listened to your ebook about 7-8 times now, and I've been finding it very eye-opening. I will keep this up. I was with my ex-girlfriend for 2 years. Our relationship has always been good, with really good communication skills between us, or so I thought. My ex-girlfriend was really in love with me to the point where if I didn't have time to see her, she would generally get upset. Well, that only applied when she was doing it. So when was the last time she got upset that you didn't have time to see her? That's when that applied. If she hasn't gotten upset in a long time, that tells me her attraction dropped. And so I assume this guy's brand new to my work, so he probably didn't know any better. He probably saw too many Disney movies. You see that a lot in movies. You see that there's this beautiful girl, and she's with this guy who's kind of a jerk, and he doesn't appreciate her, maybe even cheats on her, treats her like dirt. And then a nice guy, Mr. White Knight, comes along, and he's going to save her from her bad life and her bad relationship. He pursues her, does grand gesture dates and all this kind of ridiculous shenanigans to try to get her attention. She says, no, this guy's amazing that I'm with. And eventually she goes, I could have had a V8. No, she says, you're the love of my life. Let's be together forever. There's usually some part in the movie where they're running to each other and they embrace. I love you. This is so wonderful. That's what happens in the movies. But in real life, let's see what really happens. At the end of September 23, we decided to get our own apartment together. We moved in, bought a load of new furniture, and started our new little life together. I will say this, prior to this, there wasn't any indication that she was unhappy, and she never said so. We moved in, as couples do, and I started to do some overtime at work in order to pay off our debts for the furniture, etc. Well, the two things that go sideways in long-term relationships is, number one, she doesn't feel heard and understood, and number two, the courtship stops. And many times guys get into this situation where I got to pay off all this debt, so they become frugal. They don't want to spend any money. They don't go out. He no longer dates and courts her like he used to. And so the love story stopped as soon as they moved in together. And on top of that, now he's working extra late to make extra money, and he's not there as much. So even though they're living together, they're not dating and courting like they were in the past. And if you didn't do a good job of vetting her and you got into a relationship, and in this case moved in with a girl who has low character, well, when she's not happy, she'll just give some other dude the green light to get in her pants. So let's see what happens next. He says, around November time, I noticed that my ex was starting to say things such as our home doesn't feel like home and that she feels like she needs something to look after, like a pet or a baby. So in other words, what she's really trying to communicate is something feels off. She doesn't feel the same way about you that she used to. And instead of saying, well, what do you mean? Why are you saying that? Why do you feel that way? What makes you think that? He goes into rationalization, which basically says nothing's going to change. He says, I explained how this is something that I would be happy to go along with, but we first need to finish paying off our debts. In other words, no more dating, no more romance because I got to pay off this debt. And all she hears is, you're not going to date and court her anymore. In other words, the love story is on hold until you pay off this stuff. That's a bad way to go. You always got to date and court your girlfriend or your wife, or somebody else will. A woman with high character is going to complain about it a bunch, and eventually, if you don't get the message, she's going to break up and leave you. But women with low character will just start lining up the replacement, the monkey branch, while she's with you. He says, I explained how this is something that I would be happy to go along with, but we first need to finish paying off our debts, and it should be done by December. And then we can consider that. In other words, having a pet, having a baby, but he's missing the fact that she's basically saying something has changed and her feelings aren't the same as they used to be. One of the reasons being we were still adjusting to our bills, etc., so I was still budgeting to see on our affordability. I was making more money than my ex and was therefore buying more things for the house. Yeah, the things are not going to take the place of the love story. I mean, understandably, you're trying to furnish your house and make a nice home, but the bottom line is it sounds like you put your courtship on hold because you didn't want to spend any money, which is understandable, but you can't stop dating your girlfriend and put the courtship on hold because eventually she just starts to feel like you don't care. And again, if she's a low character woman, she's going to torture your ass in a ruthless way. At the beginning of December, I started to notice that my ex was getting cold with me. I would ask her about her day and she would be short with me. She wouldn't ask about mine. And in fact, she wouldn't ask about mine from the point we moved in, but I didn't pick up on that until after the breakup. Yeah, if she's no longer asking you personal questions about you or your life, it's because she doesn't care. She's not interested. And it's like as soon as you guys moved in together, the courtship stopped because you wanted to put all your resources towards paying your debt and your bills down, which is understandable, but you have to always date and court your girlfriend or your wife, or eventually some other guy will. She also started to be more protective with her phone. I would normally go on her phone from time to time to check up on updates, etc., and she would just snatch it from me. I didn't challenge her on that because I didn't want to be controlling. Well, if she'd always didn't care about you being in her phone and all of a sudden she does care and is hiding it from you, that should give you pause. Anyway, turns out she was messaging her coworker and she told me that she wasn't happy and felt like she was giving 100%, and now she stopped. She didn't tell me about him. We broke up and she went to his house the very same night of the breakup, which ended with a text. Now she is pregnant with his baby. I've been in no contact since. And the biggest, and this is, I kind of gave away the punchline in the beginning, but it's like you don't really realize why all this happened, character being Destiny, until like the very last paragraph. He says, and the biggest red flag of all, Coach, which I ignored, she left her ex for me. I could have had a V8. Character meets destiny, and I take this as a lesson. Karma paid me back. You can't outrun karma, my man. If she cheats on him, she will cheat on you. And so she probably would have stayed loyal and faithful to him if he'd have kept dating and courting her, but as soon as he stopped and he became focused on paying bills and debts and probably didn't take her out on any dates anymore, then she's just like, well, he doesn't care. This other guy at work sure seems to make time for me. And next thing you know, well, she is his problem now. And now he's knocked up a woman who's not loyal and faithful. So if I were you, I'd be going, well, I got all this nice furniture that I paid for. I got this nice house. I got this nice apartment. She can go live with him. She's pregnant with his baby. It's like, I'd be going, woo! Thank God you dodged a bullet, dude. So I'm happy for you that, I mean, you got out of that hopefully pretty unscathed. But this new guy that she's with, he's going to find out the hard way. And, well, karma's going to be an even bigger bitch for him. Maybe down the road they have a few more kids. And then maybe someday he realizes when the kids are old enough, it's like, man, my kids kind of don't really look like me, or some of them don't look like me. And then he realizes that she's been fucking other dudes the whole time. That's just the way it rolls with these particular kinds of women. So if you haven't already joined our members only content, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can click all the links to either join YouTube members only or join members only on Spotify. If you guys just want the videos, are in there. If you would prefer, which obviously we would like that much more, if you would prefer to join the members only content on our website, you also get the email analysis that goes along with these video coaching newsletters. And if you pay for the whole annual plan up front, you get a 25% discount. You get 6 additional paid members only video coaching newsletters per week. You get the full viewer questions podcast that we do, plus you get the 3% Man and the Mastering Yourself study group with myself and the girls and James and Chunky, where we literally go page by page in both books and have an in-depth discussion on the concepts and the principles that are taught in the books as another teaching guide for you guys. And so if you're going to understandingrelationships.com, just click the plans tab at the top of your screen on any page, and then sign up for the annual plan, and you'll get a 25% discount. And if you'd like to book a coaching session with yours truly, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.